Joining us now is a tax expert. His name is Ryan Ellis. He is the president of the Center for a Free Economy, coming to us from Alexandria, Virginia. So you looked at this BLM tax profile. How do you assess it?
Well, I'm looking at this primarily as a tax preparer. I'm an IRS enrolled agent. I've run a tax preparation business for over 20 years, in addition to all my work in the conservative movement. I prepare 990s. I run a 501c4, as you said, Center for a Free Economy. I do the first draft of its 990. I am treasurer of the 501c3. I do its 990. And I do 990s for clients. These 990 tax returns are pretty common, and they usually don't have anything terribly extraordinary on there. I took a look at the Black Lives Matter 990 yesterday and noticed something that if I was taking a look at it, if my board was taking a look at it on my 990 for one of the organizations that I run, if any of my lawyers were taking a look at it, if the IRS was taking a look at it, they would have some questions, because there was a lot in 1 year, a lot of investment losses that all of a sudden magically appeared. And I would have a lot of questions about the internal accounting of this organization.
All right, so we know that not last year, but the year before, 21, that the Black Lives Matter Global Foundation bought a bunch of mansions, spent more than $6 million on property in Southern California and in Toronto, Canada, I believe. Okay? But I don't see anything where they're using the charitable donations they get, because it's a nonprofit, right? BLM, isn't it a nonprofit?
It is a nonprofit organization.
All
as
right.
any other nonprofit has to do is have to file a 990. That's how we know.
Well, what are they doing with the 90 million? What did they do? Did they help anybody?
Well, there's a lot of grant listings in there to various and sundry cleverly named organizations. I don't know who they are. One, if I was Sheldon Whitehouse, I might call them dark money organizations. Went to them, went to some highly compensated individuals as well. I don't see a lot in the way of actually helping Black people in this country, or helping with any particular exact purpose that they were created to serve. They seem to be created in order to enrich themselves and then spread around some of this enrichment to their friends.
I think that's overwhelmingly clear that that is exactly the case. But the IRS is never going to audit them, are they?
No, and keep in mind, this is the same IRS office in Cincinnati, Ohio, that Lois Lerner came out of.
How does that work? How does that work, by the way? BLM headquarters is in LA. Why is Cincinnati involved?
Cincinnati, there's different IRS offices around the country. The Cincinnati office is responsible for anything having to do with nonprofits. So back about 10 years ago,
they handle all the nonprofits out of there. And just to refresh people's memory, there was a woman named Lois Lerner, big shot IRA person, who was found to be auditing conservative groups, and she was booted, but nothing really happened to her. Now, why do you think the IRS, and this is all public, they know about, have to know about it, why wouldn't they go in and do an audit?
Well, they have plenty of resources, don't they? I mean, they just got that $80 billion with 87,000 new IRS agents last year. They're doing a better job picking up the phones, but maybe they could use some of that money to take a look.
But why won't they? They should have already done it. But you know, with Damon's got $1 million from his former girlfriend. It's just, come on. I mean, how blatant is that? Why wouldn't they have already done it?
Because the IRS is a corrupt partisan organization that has a jersey on for the Democrats and for the liberals in this country.
How much influence? How much influence? And you, as somebody who knows the world, does a president have on the IRS? Now, I remember when I was reporting on Fox News about Bill Clinton, I got audited 3 years in a row. And my attorneys, after the third audit, wrote a letter. It said, we're going to file a lawsuit against you, the IRS, if you continue this. Because it wasn't a random, it was a targeted. I was targeted under the Clinton administration. And I mean, I believe absolutely that either Bill Clinton or his major domos told the IRS, you look at O'Reilly, see if you can get something. So how much influence does a president have? Can he pick up the phone and say, you audit this guy, you audit that guy?
He's not supposed to legally. That stuff is made illegal after what Johnson and to a lesser extent Nixon did in the 60s and 70s. But there's the law, and then there's the way that the world works outside the law. Is there informal, non-legal political influence that is exerted over the IRS? I've heard too many anecdotes like the one you just said about yourself to believe that that does not exist. It absolutely exists. It's something that is why we need to have an IRS, which is safe, legal, and rare, as Joyce and Elders used to say, and doesn't bother people because it is coming from a particular agenda. It is part of the other team. And you do not give extra money and resources to the other team, nor, sadly, can we expect the other team to police themselves particularly
No,
effectively.
and I don't even know if there's an inspector general of the IRS supposedly overseeing this. Is there? Do you know if there's an inspector general?
There's a general counsel's office, but whether there's an inspector general or not, they don't report to Congress.
All right,
There's actually
because
two congressionally appointed IRS officials, the commissioner and the general counsel. That's it.
well,
Nobody else.
just this week, a reporter named Matt Taibbi, he's the Twitter guy who went in and looked at the Twitter Democratic link. He was audited. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
he was so.
They
That's
came
so.
to his house. They
What?
came to his house, Bill. They
They
came to
came
his
to his
house.
house, right?
Agents
The
that
IRS
never
came to his
happens.
house. But it's so
I've
blatant.
been an enrolled agent for 20 years. That never, ever, ever happens.
It's so blatant that basically the Biden administration is saying, we don't care. We're going to violate federal law, target people we don't like, Matt Taibbi, and we're going to go to his house and make his life miserable. But you say that's against federal law.
It is certainly against IRS procedure. The idea that somebody comes to your house, that an agent knocks on your door, unless you're the subject of a criminal investigation, which he is not, that is extraordinarily unusual. They claim they were doing some ID protection thing. They don't send people to. I've never once in 20 years heard of the IRS outside of a criminal investigation where they're cooperating with the FBI or another agency. Send someone to your door. There's a reason they don't do that thing because it would terrify you.
I believe the federal government's corrupt and it's getting worse. Last question. I think BLM's going to get away with this whole scam. I know they don't get much money anymore. You'd have to be absolute moron to give them money. They don't get what they got after George Floyd was killed. All right. But I think you're going to get away with everything. Last word.
I think you're right. And you know who should really remember that? The small business owners who are going to get audited with these 87,000 new IRS agents who have.
Yeah, but they haven't hired those people yet. They got the allocation, but if a Republican's president's elected next time around, they'll rescind that. That'll be, and that's what I'm hoping. Mr. Ellis, thanks very much. Do you really control your retirement money? If you've got a 401k or IRA, the government controls it. They decide how much you can borrow, when you must pay it back, and you'll owe taxes and penalties for taking money out too soon or waiting too long. With Bank on Yourself, you can grow and protect your hard-earned money. It is guaranteed predictable growth and retirement income. Your plan doesn't go backward when the markets tumble. Both your principal and growth are locked in, and your tax rate will be zero in retirement. So get a free report with details on how the Bank on Yourself strategy adds guarantees, predictability, and control to your financial plan. Please go to bankonyourself.com/nospin, bankonyourself.com/nospin. So let's go over the Republican candidates for president. I have not done that yet, and there's enough of them in there now so we can run them down. I'm not going to do the people who have no chance and don't poll above 2%. I just don't have time to do it. I don't want to waste your time. So Trump is the leader in all the polls, 76 years old. You know him. He's not going to change. He did a decent job running the country, in my opinion, yet he remains a bomb thrower who is divisive. Okay, he's the leader. Coming up second, Governor DeSantis does not have the charisma that Trump has personally, but ran the Florida situation very well, in my opinion. He did a very good job in Florida. And the proof is that hundreds of thousands of people are moving to his state. And it's darn hot there in the summer. For 6 months, if you're going to move to Florida, you got to like that heat and humidity. Third, Nikki Haley, former UN ambassador, governor of South Carolina. Very smart woman. I'm not particularly impressed with her achievement sheet, but she's running for vice president. Trump would never put her on the second, but DeSantis might. That's what she's running for. Then we got VP Mike Pence, who's going to do a CNN town hall and is going to announce, I guess, next week that he's going to run for president. I don't know who his constituency is. The MAGA people hate him, so he's not going to peel off any votes from Trump. DeSantis, I think, is a much more enthusiastic culture warrior than Pence. So I don't think that the culture warriors are going to go to Pence when they have DeSantis in a race. I don't know who the vice president is hoping to get to vote for him. Very smart man, very honest man, could run the country efficiently, in my opinion. All right? But I don't see who's going to vote for him. Tim Scott, senator from South Carolina, not a particularly impressive resume in the Senate, a lot like Barack Obama was. But Scott is an honest man, a great American success story. I believe he has a shot to be on the second, and I think that's why he's running. He knows he's not going to win, but he'd like to be vice president, okay? And finally, Chris Christie says he's going to announce, but again, who is going to support Chris Christie? So what he's going to do is run for president and just try to destroy Trump because he hates Trump and vice versa. They used to be pals. But Christie, again, like Pence, I'm not sure who's going to vote for Chris Christie in the Republican Party. Who? So neither man has a chance. The only people at this point in history, and I could change, that have a chance are Trump and DeSantis. That's it. They both have the money. Remember, money is ultra important because most people don't know who Tim Scott is or Nikki Haley. They don't know who they are. I mean, you do because you follow the news, but most people don't. And you got to have money to get that name recognition and ID. All right, now I'll periodically update the Republican sweepstakes. On the Democratic side, it's RFK Jr. Versus Biden. RFK Jr. is going to do a News Nation town hall, I understand. I may analyze that both here and on News Nation. I don't see RFK Jr. at this point challenging the Democratic establishment, but as I've said, I don't think Biden's going to run again. But it wouldn't default to Bobby Kennedy Jr. Okay? I don't know who Michelle Obama keeps rattling around in my mind, but I don't know. Father's Day is made easy this year with gifts from Grip 6. Forget getting another tie this year for Dad. Choose minimalist belts, wallets, cozy wool socks, all proudly made in the USA and backed by a lifetime guarantee. Men crave hassle-free belts that fit perfectly and feel amazing without holes or bulk. The sleek wallets feature durable RFID blocking metal frames. And let's not forget the incredibly comfortable, non-itchy wool socks that stay dry and cool in the summer. Now, for Father's Day, enjoy 25% off the entire site and 40% off dad packs. Show your hardworking father he deserves the best. When you choose Grip 6, you support American strength, industry, and innovation. Please visit grip6.com/bill to explore these fantastic gifts yourself. That's grip6.com/bill. All right, here is the final thought of the day. So last week I was rummaging through my old pictures and documents, and I came across my water safety instructor's card from 1966. So I got a letter after we showed that from Kit Lindsay, Warrensburg, Missouri. Bill, please tell a lifeguard story. I love seeing your water safety instructor card. I had one too. That was a hard test to pass. You bet it was. I couldn't pass it now. Although I just got a new dive mask and stuff. I'm still okay in the water, but I couldn't pass that test now. So here's the story. So I'm teaching little kids to swim in the town of Babylon on Long Island, okay? And I had the kids in the morning and the adults at night. And the kids were easy to teach than the adults because the adults were afraid of the water, where the kids weren't. They just had to get the techniques down. So I finished my class, and we're talking about kids 5 to 10 in the class. And then after the class, I was responsible for keeping an eye on the kids as they had fun in the pool. And there were other kids who weren't taking the swimming lessons in the pool as well. So I'm walking around my little whistle, okay. And then all of a sudden I look down 12 feet in the deep end. There's a kid on the bottom of the deep end. And he's looking up like this. And I'm looking down. He's not trying to get up. He's not using his arms or kicking or anything like that. He's just there. Boom, I'm in the water. Okay. Boom, I got him. And I'm up. It may be 8 seconds, probably shorter than that. Now, he hadn't swallowed any water because I hit him in the chest to spit it out. And he's okay. And his mom runs over. Oh, thank you. I scolded the mother. I said, you got to keep eyes on these kids. Kid was maybe 5. All right. You can't just let the kid wander around a pool. He slips in. That's what happened. So anyway, then I just went about my job. And the woman was nice enough to write a letter to the Pound of Babylon, which probably didn't care at all. But anyway, 20 years later, 25 years later, maybe, I'm signing books in Huntington, Long Island. Guy comes up with a book and he goes, would you sign it to Jack or whoever? I said, sure. He goes, you saved my life. I went, whoa. He goes, when I was 5, I was at the bottom of a pool. My mother told me that you rescued me and put me up to the surface. You believe this? So his mother, who did ask my name and all of that stuff, told him, and he remembered. And then when he became famous, he went out to the book signing. How about that for a story, huh? Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.